Like this word will go down into somebody's soul sitting on the back row, and it's going to bring out your husband. Hallelujah. This sermon is going down into somebody's life, and it's going to show you that this is not the one, that's the one, this is not the one, those are not the one, but this one is your wife. Hallelujah. Somebody's going to tell you no about a building, about a property, about a license, about permission, but there's a word that says don't quit. At the appointed time, what has tarried, it will come to pass. It will speak, and surely it will not lie. It's really going to happen. So you don't quit, you just keep moving. Are you there, somebody? I don't know who you are, but this sermon, by the time you've heard it, in a few months and some in a year, you're going to be the owner of a unicorn, a national unicorn. Others, you're going to be on the top of an enterprise that is a global unicorn. Can I get a witness, somebody? That's why I don't mistreat the word. I'm careful how I hear the word and how I listen to it. Let me say it to you this way. Breakthroughs are coming out of this sermon. Wedding bells are going to come because of this sermon. Newborn amazing careers are going to happen because of this sermon. A global business is going to scale to another level because of this sermon. Divinely ordered steps are going to position you in places where your communication in that new palace is going to elevate you from a boy who came in as a slave to a king who's going to be co-ruler of a country. I don't know who you are, but out of this sermon, a partnership. That's exactly what you need to facilitate, to accessorize what you don't have is going to come together in your life so that you can take things to a whole new level. This church at inception, July the 15th, 1994. 2 days earlier, a gentleman by the name of Femi Paul said to me, Pastor Paul, why don't you start this Friday? And God blew up that word in my mind, and I knew this Friday start the all-night prayer. House on the Rock did not start on Sunday morning. Started at 10 p.m. on Friday, July the 15th. And it was only 7 people. 4 of them I picked off the road. 1 I was chasing, trying to get her to be my wife. The other was her sister, and I was the 7th. 7 people. But we prayed from 10 p.m. till 7 a.m. 1 person fell asleep. My wife knows who it is. By the next Friday, we were already at 40 people. Then we had a disappointment. The Friday afterwards, it went down to about 18 because camp was holding, I think, on that day. Then the following Friday, to my shock, we were nearly 80 people in a living room that could only take maybe 25 in close density. And we then knew that we needed more room than we had. You didn't hear me. We needed a bigger place. And as soon as we went to ask Onyx Plaza to give us their 200-seater that was empty on Friday night, they said yes. Because supply reacts to need. Ask your neighbor, do you need anything? Not long after that, the whole place filled up till it was overflowing. And the congregation at the all-night said, Pastor, we want to start Sunday morning. I said, go and find the place. The first place they found was a Latunji house. It was a dingy restaurant on the 2nd floor, somewhere on Ikorodu Road. But Ikorodu Road was our manger. We did not need Muson Center at that time. We weren't ready for it. We didn't have the means for it. What we needed was for people to respect and recognize that don't despise the day of small beginnings, because anything I begin small, I can take it big. Adam came big and grown and mature, and that's why he messed up. But Jesus came as a little blood clot, something that was unperceptible to the natural eye, and he had to grow as a gestating fetus in his mother's womb and be subject unto his parents. All the time she was giving him milk, he was the one supplying the milk, because he has always been the supplier, is the supplier, and will forever be the supplier. He was carrying her while she was carrying him. But he chose to go through the process so that we all would understand the importance, the priority of process. Because when you hear the promise, you take it as a prophecy. But you don't realize that for the prophecy to come to pass, there must always be a process. The process builds you whilst you think you are building something. It was building you to get you ready. And when we maxed out at Olatunji House, one day somebody came to dedicate a baby, and he brought all his millionaire friends, and the place was so full we couldn't stand it. A new place was not a need, it was an absolute necessity. God supplied. I went to every warehouse I could find in Orego, in Ilupeju, everywhere I could find it, and everywhere just didn't look right. It didn't look like where we were going. It didn't feel like what we were getting ready to do. And one of my members said, this church does not belong on the mainland. It belongs on the island. We were the first church to go beyond 300-400 people on Lagos Island, including Ikoyi and Victoria Island. And they said, let's go to Muson Center. I said, they won't give it to us. Plus, I knew the treasury account. We didn't have the money. Don't tell God that you don't have the money. He will give you favor so that you won't need money. He will supply all your need according to his riches. And if you don't believe that, I want you to act pretty, look important, and sit still like a pillar of salt. But if you know that your God is well able to do exceedingly and abundantly, far above all that you could ask or think, and that he will supply over and abundantly above your need, I want you to lift your two hands and shout, God, supply all I need. Say it again. Please tell him that you don't need it before it's time, but that he should bring it at the right time. Because premature explosion or premature exposure to supplies can ruin you. God will put you in places and crown you with a crown, sit you on the throne, and you'll feel like this is not me. It will take you some time to get used to it. He'll give you a promotion, put you in a job that you have so much influence that you can't even think of it to be true, that you still pinch yourself every time you arrive at the office and you sit at your desk. Who am I talking about? Imposter syndrome is coming to your life. And when you get there, act the part. After a while, it will become normal to you. When we opened up this building, I suffered imposter syndrome. So let me tell you the rest of the story. We got into the Muson Center. We took the Ajib Hall. It exploded. We had 3 services filling everywhere in Ajib, and it exploded. We said, give us the main building. We took the main building. It filled up. It filled up again. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Hallelujah. That we had to spill over into Onikan Stadium with our urban alternative church. Friend, whenever you have a need, God is going to supply that need. And he orchestrates your need by putting you into the kind of pressure and the desperation that makes you cry out to God with humility. Look, we don't need a place. We kept needing, God kept supplying. That's what happens when you have a vision. You will keep needing upgrades for what you have. That's why you have to remain. Imposter syndrome is going to characterize your life, where you will feel like you don't belong on a certain level, but God will fix you up for where he has put you up.